Hello and welcome back. So, final slide to talk about imperative. Let's start this lesson with irregular verbs. So, we don't have many irregular verbs when we're dealing with imperative. We have the verb dar, to give, estar, to be, ir, to go, and ser, also to be. And I don't think that you have to be very worried about this. I don't think that you have to memorize this table that we have here. Let's see how to conjugate this verb. So dar will be for singular, de formal, and da informal, deem plural, and then esteja, está, and estejam, vá, vai, vão, seja, se, sejam. So I think I use this irregular verbs once per year. So it's one of those topics that I believe that it's interesting for you to read to get an idea. If you have an exam that you have to, if you're gonna have an exam tomorrow, okay, in that case you have to memorize this, and then you have to go to your exam and try to get the best mark that you can. However, in a practical, in your daily life in Portugal, you won't use this verbs often. So just read, get an idea, and move on. Don't waste too much energy here. Okay, it's my advice at least. Then one information more that I have to teach you about imperative. Everything that we did before, or everything that we spoke before about this tense. So all the rules that I taught you, that I passed you, about this tense imperative were about how to use imperative when you're using the positive form, which means that when I'm giving an order or an instruction to someone, I can do it in a positive way. So I can say go, walk, eat, drink. However, I can also use imperative in Portuguese or in English or any other language and use the negative form. And I'm still using imperative, which means that I could say, instead of go, I could say don't go. Instead of walk, I could say don't walk. This is still an order, an instruction, right? Instead of drink, I could say don't drink. And this is also, I'm still using imperative, right? Now, let's see, and everything that I told you before on the previous lessons were about how to use imperative when you're using the positive form. And now, for the first time, I'm going to tell you the difference between the positive and the negative form, okay? So let's pretend that I'm talking to a group of people. So I'm going to follow this vocês, this purple words that we have here. So if I'm talking to a group of people, I could, and if in case I'm using verbs that end with AR, regular verbs, I could say andem, like walk, or I could use the negative, não andem, don't walk. Not too bad, because the only difference is just the word não, right? So it's easy. Or I could say bebam, or não bebam, right? So the only difference again, it's the word não, easy. Or I could say partam, or não partam. So as you can see, if I'm talking to a group of people, giving orders, instructions to a group of people, the only difference when you're dealing with regular verbs, the only difference between the positive and the negative, it's the word não. Everything else is the same, which is good. Now, in case I'm talking to one person, giving orders, instructions to one person in a formal way, I have to say ande or não ande. All right, so the only difference, it's also não, so it's easy. Beba, não beba. Again, the only difference is the word não. Parta, não parta. Once again, the only difference is the adverb não. So it's also very straightforward. However, if I'm giving instructions to one person in an informal way, I would say anda, bebe, parte. However, this is the positive form, anda, bebe, parte. But when you switch to the negative form, instead of anda, we have não andes. So the A disappears and I'm adding the ES. Instead of bebe, we have não bebas. So we have to cut the E and add an A and an S. Parte and não partas. Once again, the same logic, okay? So this is tricky. As I told you when we started this topic, this imperative, I told you that there are loads of different rules when you talk about imperative, and I told you that I don't think that you have to be worried, and I don't think that you have to try to memorize all these rules, okay? I told you many times that there's only one rule that you have to know. I'm sure that you already know it. I don't have to repeat it. Everything else, just go with the flow. Get an idea, get a feeling. You really have to start, you have to be exposed, you have to speak, you have to be in this country, and you have to use the language in your daily basis to be able to use this all these rules in the right way. And you won't be able to memorize those rules if you're exposed every day, and if you're going to use this language every day, then things start making sense because you'll be exposed. So just it sounds correct this way instead of in a different way, and that's how you're gonna be able to start using all these rules about imperative in the right way. You have to be exposed. Okay, so in the meantime, just read once, read twice, get an idea, and move on and chill. Okay, that's my advice. The final slides. It's a practical example. So what you have to do is give me some instructions so I can make soup at home. Use the informal imperative. In fact, I cannot cook. I'm a disaster. So let's pretend that I want to make soup at home, and I need your help to do that. So basically, what you have to give me some instructions. Obviously, you have to use imperative for that, because the idea is to practice the imperative informal, which is the only one that I believe that you should know by heart. And what you have to do is something like this. Go to the supermarket. Go. It's like imperative, right? And then buy vegetables, and then pay, and then go back home, and then wash vegetables. So every time you say go, pay, buy, return, you have to use imperative. And I'm asking you to use imperative informal, okay? So please pause this video for a few minutes. Take your time, write down your instructions, and then please come back, because I'm going to show you what I wrote here. And obviously your sequence, your sentences will be different from my sentences, but that doesn't matter. I'm sure that with my examples will be very useful for you to correct your sentences. Okay, so pause this video for a few minutes and then please come back. Okay, so let's see what I have here for you, and please compare these sentences that you will read now with what you wrote there. Okay, so the first one is vai ao supermercado. Vai, it's once again imperative informal. Eu vou, tu vais, ele vai. Imperative informal. Compra legumes. Compra, the verb comprar. Buy vegetables. Eu compro, tu compras, ele compra. Compra, that's your solution. Paga, the verb pagar, to pay. Regressa a casa, return home. Lava os legumes, so wash the vegetables. Corta os legumes, cut the vegetables. Põe água e os legumes na panela, so put water and the vegetables inside the pan. Coze os legumes e põe sal, like boil the vegetables and put salt. And finally, espera 20 minutos e depois come a sopa. So espera, it's the verb esperar, to wait. So wait 20 minutes and then eat the soup. Okay, so vai, compra, paga, regressa, lava, corta, põe, cose, espera, come. All these verbs that you can see here, I'm using imperative informal. So hopefully what you wrote there is not so different from what I wrote here. And I hope you have enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you shortly.